There exists a truth, simple yet profound, that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the dreamers from the doers, the weak from the resolute. It is not hidden in ancient texts or locked behind the gates of fortune. No, it lies within your daily practice, your habit of daily focused intention. Let me tell you something that will change your life forever if you allow it to enter your consciousness and root itself in your behavior. Whatever you consistently think about, act upon, and emotionally commit to each day, you shall eventually become. That is not a matter of belief, it is a matter of law, spiritual, mental, and universal. Your mind is the workshop of your destiny, but this workshop only yields results when you enter it each day, not sporadically or when convenient, but every single day with full presence and determination. The greatest men and women who have ever walked the earth did not stumble upon success. They engineered it, and they did so through the one daily habit you must now adopt, the habit of purposeful visualization followed by decisive action. Start your day with clarity, not confusion. Begin it not by scrolling through distractions, but by locking your mind on the image of the life you are building. Before the sun crests the horizon, you must see in your mind the outcome you desire, vivid, alive, glowing with certainty. Then, and this is what separates the victorious from the defeated, you must act in alignment with that vision. One small action every day, directed by a vision so strong it sets your soul on fire, will crush the mountains of doubt and failure that block the way for the aimless. You may not see results today, you may not feel powerful tomorrow, but if you show up every day, holding that vision in your mind and pushing your will through the tasks of the day, a time will come when you'll look around and realize you've become exactly what you imagined. But understand this, no man achieves greatness by accident. You do not stumble your way into triumph. You train for it. You discipline your emotions. You force your feet to move forward when your mind is whispering the language of fear. And you do this not once in a while, but daily. This habit, this ritual, is your secret weapon. Write your goal down every morning. Speak it aloud with power. Close your eyes and picture it as though it were already yours. Feel the pride, the peace, the abundance. Then open your eyes and go to war for it. Let your actions scream the truth of your desire. The world does not reward wishes. It rewards work, and it especially rewards the kind of work that is fueled by deliberate daily focus. That is the difference between the man who says, "I wish I could," and the one who proclaims, "I will," and "I am." This habit, once adopted, begins to attract forces, people, and opportunities you never imagined. Doors open where there were only walls, but you must prove you are ready. You must earn the reward by repetition, by returning day after day to the altar of discipline, and beware, the enemy of this habit is inconsistency. It is the whisper in your mind that says you've done enough when you haven't. It is the illusion of rest when the battlefield still calls your name. The truth is this, you don't rise when it's easy, you rise when it's hard. You must demand more from yourself than others expect. You must rise before doubt has a chance to whisper. You must train your mind to obey your will, not your feelings. Your feelings will deceive you, but your vision will not. Your vision is sacred, and if you honor it with consistent, daily, intentional effort, it will reward you beyond your wildest imagination. You may not be the most talented, you may not have the resources. But if you commit to this one habit, the daily focus on your goal, followed by relentless pursuit, you will rise, not because luck smiled on you, not because fate chose you, but because you chose yourself every single day until the world had no choice but to agree. So, I ask you now, what do you want? What do you really want? And are you willing to show up for it daily until it is yours? Because if you are, nothing can stop you. Absolutely nothing. Before any man builds a temple, he first builds a blueprint. Before any bridge spans the river, it exists in the imagination of the engineer. Before the great oak stretches toward the heavens, its entire structure is wrapped within a single acorn. So it is with your life. Before you can achieve anything of value, you must see it in your mind and stamp that image upon the pages of your soul. Understand this eternal truth. You are the master builder of your destiny, and your thoughts are the tools. Every morning that you wake, you are given a fresh opportunity to set the direction of your life, not by chance, not by circumstance, but by the creative power of conscious intention. The man who begins his day with mental clarity has already won half the battle. The man who rises without direction is already walking into defeat. Most men drift. They allow the noise of the world to dictate their thoughts, and so their lives become nothing more than reflections of chaos. But the rare man, the one who stops, centers himself, and chooses his thoughts deliberately, he becomes the architect of greatness. You must begin each day by entering the sacred workshop of your mind. Go there before the demands of the world clamor for your attention. Go there in silence while the rest of the world still sleeps, and build. Build the picture of the life you desire with such intensity that your heart begins to beat faster at the thought of it. See the success, the joy, the health, the abundance, not vaguely, not like a wish whispered into the wind, but clearly as though it were already yours. This habit, when practiced daily, begins to train your subconscious mind to believe in your ability to bring the vision to life. The subconscious mind is the unseen servant of man. It does not reason, it does not argue, it simply accepts what you repeatedly feed it, and it sets to work shaping your environment, your actions, and your outcomes in harmony with the dominant image you hold in your mind. And so, if you wish to accomplish anything, whether it be a business, a career, a relationship, or a state of inner peace, you must begin by impressing it deeply into your consciousness each morning. Do not let the sun rise without placing your hands upon your destiny, shaping it with thought, with feeling, and with focus. Write down your purpose each morning, even if you wrote it yesterday. Speak it aloud, even if you spoke it the day before. There is power in repetition, there is magic in focus, and there is creative fire in emotion. If you can see it in your mind and believe it with your heart, the world will begin to move in your favor. But beware, the enemy of clarity is distraction. The modern world is overflowing with temptations designed to steal your focus and drain your mental energy. If you begin your day by surrendering your attention to the world, news, gossip, social media, you forfeit your right to complain about the mediocrity that follows. You must guard the gateway of your mind like a sentry. Only allow thoughts that serve your purpose to enter. Only permit images that inspire you to take root. And when the doubt comes, and it will come, you must return to the image you created and hold it even tighter. You do not need to know how everything will unfold. The bridge between your current life and your dream life is not always visible from the starting point, but clarity of vision is the first step in building that bridge. Without it, you will wander. With it, you will advance. The man who begins each day by focusing on his vision is like a ship with a compass. He may be tossed by waves, but he will never be lost. The storms of life cannot drown the man who knows where he is going. And each day that he reaffirms that destination in his mind, he gains strength, confidence, and momentum. There is no greater power than a focused mind, aligned with purpose and fired by faith. And that power is not found in a single moment. It is found in a daily practice, repeated with discipline and intensity. You must build your vision, feed your mind, and light your spirit every morning if you are to achieve what others dare not even dream. Begin tomorrow, begin before the sun does, and do not stop until the world around you matches the world you created in your mind. There is a law, more reliable than gravity and more exact than mathematics, which governs the movement from dream to reality. It is this: no vision becomes real without action. No idea, no matter how beautiful, grand, or bold, will ever manifest unless it is followed by effort that is deliberate, disciplined, and daily. You may see the mountaintop, you may believe it is yours, but until you begin climbing, it will forever remain a fantasy. The great tragedy of life is not that men lack dreams, it is that they lack the will to move toward them. They spend their days building castles in the air and call it ambition, but ambition by itself is only the spark. Action is the fire that drives the machine of progress. One burns out quickly, the other keeps the engine running until destiny is reached. You must understand that the habit of purposeful, daily action is the link that binds thought to reality. Thought alone is creative, yes, but it is like the seed. Action is the soil, the water, and the sunlight. Action is what makes the invisible become visible. Without it, your finest thoughts wither and rot in the soil of hesitation. Do not be fooled by the comfort of mere mental work. There are many who spend their lives planning, preparing, perfecting, yet never beginning. They wait for ideal circumstances, for inspiration, for a sign, and life, uninterested in their timidity, simply passes them by. Fortune does not wait for the hesitant, it embraces the bold. Once you have fixed your goal in your mind, once you have seen it clearly and felt it deeply, the very next step is to ask, what can I do today to move 1 inch closer to it? Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, right now, the dream must be followed by the deed or it dies. It matters not how small your action may be. What matters is that it is intentional. 1 brick placed each day builds the palace. 1 strike of the pickaxe breaks the mountain. 1 forward step each morning brings the summit within reach. The key is in the doing, and the doing must become your sacred ritual. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait to feel inspired. Act first, and the inspiration will follow. The very motion of action awakens energy that thought alone cannot summon. Movement breeds momentum, and momentum turns ordinary men into giants. There will be days when your mind protests, when your body complains, when the path ahead seems steep and endless. These are the days when action matters most. It is easy to act when you feel strong. It is transformational to act when you feel weak. For each time you rise in defiance of your own resistance, you strengthen the muscle of self-command, and this muscle, once developed, can carry you through any storm. Now, let me tell you something very few understand. When your action is tied to a definite purpose, it begins to attract support. People, circumstances, and ideas you never anticipated begin to show up. But they do not come to the idle, they do not come to the man sitting with folded hands, they arrive at the feet of the one who is already in motion. Providence rewards those who prove they are serious through action. So let this be your creed. I will act daily toward the realization of my vision. I will not be governed by fear, fatigue, or the opinions of others. I will move forward, even when progress is slow, even when obstacles arise, even when doubt creeps in. I will act, and because I act, I will succeed. Each morning you rise, ask yourself this simple question: what will I do today that proves I am serious about my goal? Then do it, without hesitation, without excuses, without delay. You were not meant for mediocrity. You were born with the capacity for greatness. But greatness is reserved for those who are willing to work for it. Not occasionally, not when it's easy, but every single day. The world is full of talkers. Be the one who moves, be the one who does, for in the end, results are not born from dreams alone. They are born from action, focused, persistent, purposeful action, day after day, until the world is forced to give you what you came for. Success does not yield itself to those who merely wish for it. It does not open its gates to the man who knocks once and walks away. No, success belongs to the man who arrives each day with unwavering resolve, who demands of himself that he move forward, regardless of how he feels, regardless of the weather, regardless of the noise of the world. It belongs to the man whose discipline forms the bridge between his dreams and his destiny. Discipline is the iron spine of achievement. Without it, even the brightest mind collapses under pressure. With it, the average man becomes a master of his fate. For discipline is not born of luck or talent. It is born of decision. It is the conscious choice to do what must be done, whether or not you feel like doing it. It is the invisible hand that lifts you from the comfort of excuses and places you in the furnace of progress. Look around you. The difference between those who rise and those who fall is rarely found in their intelligence or resources. It is found in their habits. The winners have forged routines that serve them, rituals that align their actions with their goals. They do not ask if they feel like working. They do not negotiate with laziness. They have decided, once and for all, that discipline shall rule their lives. Now understand this, you are not your feelings. Your feelings are temporary. They come and go like clouds across the sky, but your decisions, your standards, can be permanent. If you have decided to achieve something great, then you must discipline yourself to act in accordance with that decision, no matter what emotions try to interfere. There will be days when fatigue whispers lies into your ears. There will be days when doubt attempts to tighten its grip around your neck. These are the critical moments. These are the proving grounds. For every time you choose discipline over comfort, you expand your power. You build a strength that cannot be bought or borrowed. You become dangerous to every excuse that ever stood in your way. The man who is disciplined becomes dependable. He becomes respected. He becomes a force. Others may have bigger dreams, louder voices, or greater talent, but he shows up day after day and executes, and life bows before such a man. It has no choice. Discipline is not simply about doing the hard thing once. It is about doing it again and again and again, until it becomes your nature, until it becomes who you are. That is when the transformation takes place. That is when your identity rises to match your vision. Let me offer you a truth that may sting at first, but will set you free. If your habits do not match your goals, you are lying to yourself. If you say you want to build something great, but do not train yourself daily to act with discipline, you will be left with regret instead of reward. For in the end, we do not get what we wish for, we get what we work for, consistently and without fail. Discipline also frees the mind. When you no longer negotiate with your lesser self, you gain back energy, clarity, and momentum. The man who wakes each day knowing exactly what must be done and does it is far richer than the man chasing pleasure without purpose. Discipline brings order, and with order comes power. Make no mistake. The battle for your life is won or lost in your daily decisions, not in the grand moments, but in the small ones. Do you rise with purpose, or do you hit the snooze button? Do you stick to your plan, or do you bend to temptation? Do you move forward, or do you wait for the perfect moment that never comes? Discipline answers those questions for you. It says, I move forward no matter what. So I ask you now, what kind of life do you want to live? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Decide, and then build the bridge to that life, brick by brick, through the sacred practice of daily discipline. You will stumble, you will fall, but if you rise again with discipline in your heart, you will become unstoppable, not because you are lucky, not because you are the most talented, but because you are committed, because you are disciplined, and in this world nothing can stand in the way of a disciplined man on a mission. There is a secret ritual practiced in silence by those who achieve what others only dream of. It is not known to the masses, for it requires effort, repetition, and emotional intensity. But to those who discover it and make it their own, it becomes a weapon more powerful than any circumstance, more dependable than any opportunity. This ritual is the daily act of writing your goal, speaking your desire aloud, and feeling as though it is already yours. Do not mistake this for some childish game. It is not empty repetition. It is the conscious planting of seeds in the most fertile soil known to man, the subconscious mind. You see what you hold before your eyes each day, what you declare with your mouth, and what you feel with emotion becomes the dominant thought of your life, and your dominant thought becomes your dominant reality. Let others drift, let them wander from day to day with vague hopes and unclear ambitions. You, however, must be deliberate. Each morning, while the rest of the world scrambles in confusion, you will center yourself. You will sit quietly, take a pen in hand, and write your goal with clarity and conviction, not as though it is distant, but as though it is real, already in motion, already on its way to you. Why? Because repetition builds belief. And belief, when fused with emotion, becomes unstoppable. When you write that goal down daily, you are doing more than scribbling words. You are etching destiny. You are instructing your subconscious to find paths, unlock doors, and influence your behavior in alignment with that goal. And when you speak it aloud, you do so not as a beggar, but as a builder. You do not say, "I hope this happens." You say, "This is who I am, this is what I am creating, this is what I demand of life, and life shall yield it." Speak it with energy. Speak it with absolute certainty. Speak it as though the entire universe is listening, because it is. The vibration of your voice carries power. It activates parts of your mind that silent thinking cannot touch. And when your ears hear your own voice affirming your purpose, you condition yourself to believe that it is already in motion. You become less likely to tolerate distractions, delay, or discouragement. You move through your day like a man on a mission, because that's exactly what you are. But perhaps the most potent piece of this ritual is what lies beneath the writing and the speaking. It is the feeling. For emotion is the fire that forges belief into reality. When you close your eyes and imagine your goal already achieved, you must feel the joy, the gratitude, the pride as though it were happening now. You must live in the result before it arrives. That is how you magnetize it. That is how you bring it closer. Emotion is energy in motion. It fuels your thoughts with electricity. It gives your words life. A cold, dry repetition of a goal may move nothing, but a goal infused with belief and burning desire, that moves everything. This daily habit is not optional if you are serious about success. It is essential. For every day that you fail to affirm your purpose, the world will try to give you a different one. It will try to convince you to settle, to slow down, to wait. But if you return each day to your written goal, your spoken truth, and your emotional visualization, you build an inner wall against all such temptations. Let others forget what they are aiming for. Let them wander from one shiny distraction to the next. You will not be among them. You will be the man who knows where he is going, the man who reminds himself daily, the man who refuses to forget who he is or what he's becoming. Do not underestimate the compound power of this ritual. At first, it may feel simple, ordinary even, but make no mistake. It is among the most powerful disciplines you can ever adopt. Over time, it sharpens your focus, strengthens your resolve, and aligns your entire being with your highest aim. So, write your goals, speak your purpose, feel your dream, do it daily, do it with faith, do it with fire, and watch in awe as the world rearranges itself to reflect the image you have created within. If there is a silent killer of dreams more dangerous than failure, it is inconsistency. It wears no mask, raises no warning flag, and makes no sound. It whispers gently to you in moments of fatigue, saying, "You can skip today." And in that moment, if you listen, you surrender the compound interest of your progress, for inconsistency is the poison that seeps into the cracks of your routine and breaks the structure you were building, one missed effort at a time. Greatness does not come to those who move in fits and starts. It does not appear for the man who works only when inspiration strikes or when conditions are convenient. It belongs to the man who shows up regardless. The man who builds daily, no matter how small the step, will always outpace the one who sprints occasionally and stops to rest for weeks. You must understand a truth that many never learn. The world rewards not those who are merely talented, but those who are reliable. The man who moves steadily, who honors his commitment to his goal with daily effort, is the man the universe conspires to help. Nature does not favor the inconsistent. It cannot, for nature itself is disciplined. The sun rises without fail, the tides obey their rhythm, the seed, when watered daily, becomes the tree, but if neglected even briefly, the soil dries, the root weakens, and the potential is lost. So it is with your goal. Every single day you neglect your mission, you send a message to your subconscious mind that your desire is negotiable, that perhaps it isn't as serious as you once claimed, and the subconscious listens closely. It begins to withdraw its support. You become less certain, less bold, less aligned. Suddenly you feel stuck, confused, disconnected from the purpose that once lit your soul, and yet it was not fate that caused it. It was inconsistency. The man who says, "I will act when I feel ready," will find himself years later in the same place, with the same regrets, haunted by the opportunities he allowed to drift by. The man who says, "I will act every day, no matter how I feel," becomes a legend, not because the journey was easy, but because he became consistent when most were inconsistent. Consistency is not about being perfect. It is about being present. It is about being in motion. It is about honoring your commitment more than your comfort. You may not always get it right. You may stumble. You may even fall. But if you rise and return to your work again and again, you build a strength that cannot be broken. Let us not forget, success is not an explosion. It is a process. It is earned in the darkness when no one is watching. It is carved 1 hour, one decision, one action at a time, and when that process is interrupted, when you abandon the rhythm, you do not just lose time. You lose belief. Your confidence is built not by results alone, but by the daily proof that you are doing your part. Every time you show up, you reinforce your identity as someone who does what he says he will do. That identity becomes the foundation of your power, but every time you break your own word, even in secret, you weaken your inner structure. Consistency, then, is not merely a tactic. It is a moral obligation to your higher self. It is how you earn the right to expect results. The man who sows daily, who waters daily, who weeds daily, will reap, not always when he expects, and not always how he planned, but he will reap. The man who sows only when he feels like it will forever live in lack, not because he is cursed, but because he refused to honor the law. If your results are not yet visible, do not lose heart. Remain consistent. For the seed must germinate before it breaks the soil. Your effort is never wasted. It is stored, accumulated, and when the time is right, when your consistency has proven you worthy, the result will burst forth with a force that surprises even you. So beware the voice of inconsistency. It is the softest voice but the deadliest. Answer it with action. Defeat it with discipline. Replace it with the unshakable vow, "I will show up today, because what I desire is worth it." Make your rhythm sacred. Let your daily effort become your religion. For those who are consistent, even in silence, become unstoppable in time. Man does not become what he wishes to be. He becomes what he practices to be. And what you practice daily, whether in thought, word, or action, etches itself so deeply into your character that it soon ceases to be practice at all. It becomes your identity. It becomes your life. You see, every thought you dwell upon, every choice you make, every action you repeat, is a chisel shaping the statue of your future. Most men are unaware of this silent law. They live by reaction instead of intention, and so their lives are shaped by outside forces. But the man who understands that he becomes what he practices is the man who takes control of his own becoming. The question is not, will I become something? The question is, What am I becoming through my daily habits? For your habits are not isolated acts. They are threads in the fabric of your destiny, and whether you like it or not, you are always becoming, either by default or by design. Look closely at your day. What do you do in the first hour upon waking? What thoughts dominate your mind? What words escape your lips without permission? What small decisions, repeated without thought, have now become chains upon your ambition? You must examine yourself ruthlessly, for it is not grand events but quiet repetitions that determine your direction. If you rise each day and feed your mind with the vision of who you wish to be, if you speak words of belief, if you act in accordance with your purpose, even when it is inconvenient, even when it hurts, you are not pretending. You are training, and what you train becomes real. But if instead you allow yourself to dwell in doubt, to delay your action, to tolerate the voice of fear, and indulge the habits of comfort, you are also training. You are training your mind to believe you are weak. You are rehearsing failure, and soon you will perform it with masterful ease. The power of daily practice is not a theory, it is a force. It is the law that governs all personal transformation. You cannot hope to become disciplined without practicing discipline. You cannot hope to become strong while practicing weakness. You cannot hope to become wealthy while practicing the behaviors of poverty. Life will only give you what you train for, nothing more, and never less. What you do each day is more important than what you do occasionally. A single burst of motivation is like lightning. It flashes brightly, but disappears quickly. It is the man who builds a fire and tends to it daily who brings warmth to his vision. Daily habits are the wood that sustains the flame of purpose. Without them, you are left cold, empty, and surrounded by the ashes of unfulfilled potential. You must therefore make sacred the small things, never again dismiss the little efforts, the early rise, the extra hour of focus, the refusal to quit when comfort calls. These are not small, they are the bricks of your empire. Do not wait for the opportunity to act grandly. Instead, act daily, and your daily acts will become grand in time. Character is not forged in emergencies, it is revealed there. It is built in silence, in the hidden hours when no one is watching. And the man who has practiced strength, patience, and discipline every day will not need to find courage when tested. He will already be courage because he has lived it. So decide, now and forevermore, what kind of man will I become? And when that vision appears in your mind, let your daily life become a rehearsal for that man. Let your choices, your routines, your speech, and your actions reflect the future you have claimed, for one day that future will arrive. And when it does, it will not be a surprise. It will be the natural conclusion of your practice. You will have earned it. You will have grown into it, and the world will not ask, "How did he do it?" It will say, "He was always that man, even before we saw it." Practice your greatness daily, and soon you will not be practicing. You will be living it.